I wasn't a bad eater, but when you grow up and you're eating certain foods, you're like, okay, I can take this out, I can add this. When I saw that change, also with me training myself, training, I was able to see difference. And when I saw difference, people saw difference. So when people see difference in you, they like, man, it works. I want some of that. So then you got people to follow you, right? I got more of my teammates to get involved.
What if I told you that the same mindset that builds championship teams also builds an extraordinary life? The same discipline that drives elite performance to greatness is the discipline that unlocks a longer, stronger, and more resilient future. This is where peak health meets peak performance, where we explore the science of longevity and the mindset of greatness. Because your legacy isn't just what you leave behind, it's what you show up with every single day. This is the Legacy and Longevity Podcast. I'm Zach Dancel, your host. Welcome back to the Legacy and Longevity Podcast. Today's guest is someone who didn't just influence how I train, he influenced how I think about discipline, consistency, and what it really means to be physically prepared, not just for sports, but for life. Before the podcast, before business, before longevity truly became the buzzword that is today, Myron Flowers was, my football coach and trainer back, in high school and college, and even when I was getting ready for the pros. And what really stood out, uh, even then, wasn't just the workouts; it was the standard that he set. Myron Flowers today, he's built something truly special from the ground up, called the Domain Fitness. Him and a few of his partners, and it's not just about the aesthetics, the hacks, or chasing the trends. It's always been about training for the life that we actually live. Building strength that's going to last us a lifetime, not just for the sports that we were coming to him for. Myron's truly shaped or helped shape the person I am today. And, I want to make sure that I give him his flowers while I have him. So Myron, welcome to the show.
No, man, I appreciate it, man. That was, you know, again, man, heartfelt for sure. And, it makes it that much more important and really shows like, why we doing what we doing and the effect that it did have. Like that's why I did it. You know what I mean? That's why we doing it. So no, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity for sure.
Of course. Before we dive into domain fitness and some of the things that you're doing right now, I want you to take us back to the beginning where it all started. Um, you know, I, I had the opportunity in high school, college, and the pros to train, not just with you, but alongside of you, right? Because one thing that I really loved what you did is that you were right there working out with us, right? So I always felt that, you know, I was training with the best because you not only were, you know, out competing us, right? Outlifting us, outrunning us, but you've been a part of and helped train some of the top athletes to ever come out of the DMV, right? Vernon Davis, Vontae Davis, Stefon and Trevon Diggs, Tavon Wilson, Ronald Darby, Blake Countess. Your list, your rap sheet, speaks for itself. But take us back to the beginning, like when you first decided, like this is what you wanted to do.
It's crazy because now when I look back, because I just had this conversation before, and when I look back, I was like, dang, I probably the only person that was probably a born trainer. You know what I mean? Like for real, I haven't done anything else. So I've been always been an athlete in a sense, right? As a youngster growing up, playing youth league sports and then high school, but then just always was enamored and love the process. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had uncles and watched my father work and my mother work, but it wasn't like fitness was and the performance wasn't a huge thing, but they did set the foundation for me. I saw my uncles who played sports or athletes, and I saw them have to work out. And it was like, man, I just love that process. So, growing up, just never doing anything outside of that and really have an opportunity to kind of turn it into, I mean, I hate to really say it's a business now, but just now it come to light on what it is. So, you figure from high school, I was always a captain and leading workouts, right? Or trying new things. And to your point, like I always wanted to do the work because I need to know what it feel like. I can't see something works and I don't know. Anybody can put together like a list of exercises and you can trust them to do it, but they can't prove that it's going to work, you know, if they don't do it in the trial and error of those things, right?
Right.
But I would say it kind of started for me really, I would say, in college in a sense, right? Because I was an assistant strength and conditioning coach as a junior, where I was, we had a strength and conditioning coach, and this at a HBCU at the time. He was a Caucasian, younger, smaller guy, didn't play football, very knowledgeable, right? But didn't necessarily have the connection to the players in a sense, right? From a leadership standpoint. So it wasn't that he wasn't getting much buy-in. It was just, again, he wasn't getting the buy-in from everybody. So when I came in, kind of looked at how he was, how he was coordinating his programs, but I had the connectability. I was a captain leader on the team. So for me, it was easy for me to be able to get guys to be motivated to work out, right? Make things a little bit exciting and what exercise we can do in conjunction with exercise and how much time we had, how we use the weight room, all these things. And then the nutrition piece. I was able to meet with a nutritionist back in, you figure in 1995, 96. It was kind of unheard of. I had a lady walk me around the grocery store, and she was more like just regular nutritionist, right? It wasn't like performance-based nutrition. She was just educating me on different foods, okay, how to go through the grocery store and pick out foods, right? Things that you're going to need. And I saw change within myself. I wasn't a bad eater, but when you grow up and you're eating certain foods, you're like, okay, I can take this out, I can add this. When I saw that change, also with me training myself, training, I was able to see difference. And when I saw difference, people saw difference. So when people see difference in you, they like, man, it works. I want some of that. So then you got people to follow you, right? I got more of my teammates to get involved. And then when I ended up going from college to Canadian Football League, and I wasn't making a whole bunch of money, you got to work on your off season. So it gave me an opportunity to still chase my dream to play sports, but then love what I was doing. So then I had people following me around the gym doing the exact same exercise I was doing. So I was like, okay, I got to make this, I got to monetize this. And I was able to do that. But then I wasn't necessarily getting a bunch of athletes at the first time either, right? Because fitness was just kind of, it was new. Performance was kind of new. People just didn't train with people outside of their coach or their school or their college. It just was unheard of. But then I had all of these things that I had learned along the way from high school, college, and even playing professionally that I was like, man, I just want to be able to teach this to some dudes, man. I wish they could just learn what I've learned already and see how much impact it can be on their lives. And Vernon was the first one. You know what I mean? He was the first one that kind of was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll be your guinea pig. And he was a freshman at Maryland. You know what I mean? No one really knew, people knew who Vernon Davis was, but he wasn't who Vernon Davis ended up being in the draft. In fact, he was number 87. I had to help him change his number, you know what I mean, and build his confidence to be like, look, you coming out your junior year. But and then to see him live, like to your point, live the lifestyle after playing, right?
Yep.
So that was like, and it wasn't so much me teaching these people these things where it was like, I want to teach them these things so they can be so much better at sport. I knew that was gonna happen regardless. I just wanted them to feel what I was feeling in my life, like the confidence I had just walking around, the confidence I had if someone wanted to race me, the confidence I had in reference to if I was competing for a position, um, going to talk to a young lady or being able to go into a room of people and speak publicly or talk to my professors or do a contract deal. It just gave me the confidence all the way around, you know what I mean? And my ability to be able to just move and navigate through life. And life was lifing, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's not like everything was perfect through the transition, but when you are going through your journey and you make it about your health and wellness, I just realized, man, you really it's really nothing for real. You know what I mean? Nothing really stresses you for real. You deal with it and you keep it moving. So you kind of have made yourself into this, and it's like I want to make that for other people
Yeah.
because I know life gonna life for them, right? Everybody's gonna go through situations, something, adversity. How are you gonna compete? You know what I mean? How you gonna go through tough things if you're not going through tough things physically and mentally? So, it just got us to the point today where we are now, and at the time, Zach, you know this. I mean, even when you started training, you followed me probably 4 or 5 different gyms. You know what I mean?
More than that. Right? And that's that's part of the thing, right? Like, that was part of your journey, so I want you to kinda talk more about that, right? Because back in the day when I was training with you, I never truly understood, um, why we were constantly hopping, right? Right? Why we were we'd start at a new gym, then go to the
Right.
next. But, as I grew older, I kinda started to realize, not everybody wants that type of energy or wants that type of, it's just talk to us a little bit more about that type of adversity, right? How you handled it.
It's crazy that they wouldn't want that type of energy because it wasn't like we were doing anything wrong, right? We weren't harming anybody. We weren't, belligerent. We weren't trying to be anybody. Well, we would even talk to people. You know what I mean? It wasn't like this. We came in and tried to bully the gym.
No.
It was just people weren't used to seeing what we were doing. They never saw bodies move in this fashion. The training style, the philosophical approach, the exercises, right? Within the space. It was all shock to a lot of people because even the people who managed the gym or other trainers who were just fitness trainers or the people who came to the gym, it was something they had never seen before. It was new. So it kind of caught people off guard. And people who weren't ready to embrace it were, I wouldn't say intimidated by it, they just didn't know. There was an ignorance.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, right? I mean, because I remember when we were there, the other gym goers there would be looking at us or wanting to come over, be a part of it, and they kind of fed off that energy, right? Like, it kind of made it a better environment in that gym space for, that gym's member.
Right. And and that's what I always wanted, right? Because to be honest with you, when I was training you, I had been up already in the morning, early mornings a lot of times before I even trained you. You guys were or slotted times in my day, right? I was training regular general fitness clients in the morning, just regular people. So I knew it could work. I never looked at you guys or Steph or any of those guys early on in your careers as NFL players. Or it was more so you wanted what I was offering, and we were all just regular folks,
Yep.
regular folk. And I just think there were facilities that weren't ready for that. And what you have now is you have a difference in facilities now. You have a general fitness gyms, like a Gold's Gym and Lifetime Fitness and Planet Fitness and One Life and all these gym spaces. And don't get me wrong, they do well with what they do, but their concept and values are just based off membership and providing people with gym space.
Yep.
And you have spaces where now look where we've gone in reference to performance field. You have people that just do performance based training, just working with athletes, right? They specialize in athletics. We never did, we culminated both. So we're the first to fuse both philosophically from a training standpoint and then also from a facility standpoint. So like it's always been my vision to bring both together because I knew they could exist because I was working with both. And these people at other gyms never worked with both people. So they didn't know how to operate within the space. Also, we always remember whatever space we went into, I always try to make the best of the situation based off the space I had. So I would look at the space, who was in there at the time and space. I would make it a point to engage with those people, right? To make them feel comfortable. You guys could self-observationally see that and learn from that and learn from people that didn't look like you, that wasn't athletes.
Yep.
So the beauty, like now, what we got now, domain fitness and performance, is crazy because it's beautiful for me. Sometimes I just find myself just looking out on a busy day, and I'm seeing exactly what the vision was. I'm seeing energy. I'm seeing all walks of life. I'm seeing different programming going on at one time, and it's exactly what I envision is happening. And I'm seeing no intimidation. I don't see any insecurities. I don't see anybody belittling anybody. I just see people in their own space, and everyone is working together to get better. And that's what we want to create. That's the concept and the niche that we've created with domain fitness first and performance. Because if you ain't fit, there will be no performance. I don't care what you do, what what job you perform. It will not. You will not perform at a high level if you're not fit. Period.
Yeah.
You know that, and it's always been the case. I'm not changing that. You know what I mean? And again, there's no retirement in this for me. You know what I mean? As long as God's willing, I'm able to. I still train with the players. I still train with people because that's important to me. It helps me. I'm helping them, but they helping me too.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a way of life, and that's one of the things that, I really appreciate, going through the process with you and really working out with you and kind of seeing how, you working out with us was you showing a way of leading by example, right? Doing something that, you're asking us to do that, you wouldn't do yourself. And that's kind of, the more and more that I think and process, you know, how I now lead, right, is 100% that, right? It is lead by example, right? There's not any job, there's not any a situation that I haven't, done myself here at Nava, um, that that I wouldn't expect anyone else in my company to do, right? I wanted to be at the ground level just because of, who you helped me become, who my dad helped me become, who, Coach Locks helped me become, like, all those the figures that I had in my life, you guys really set that standard and set that tone, is just leading by example. I mean, I think it just says a lot about, who you are, who the others, truly are in terms of who you guys are as people. But it's really played a huge part in my life, and that's, I want to contribute a lot of my success to, to you and the example that you set. So, you know, domain fitness is to where you're at right now, but obviously it took time and it took grind, to get to where you are today. And I love, everything that you're doing. I'm so happy that finally got this, place to call your home. Uh, but that journey to get there, how many gyms would you say that you got kicked out of to be able to get to where you are today?
We did the count. It was 36. So I've been training for 30 years. I've been kicked out of more gyms than I actually trained, right? And I don't want to say kicked out, right? So it was it was it was always a situation where it was always okay when we started. And it also showed me that there are a lot of people that don't want to see you win, even when you're doing something good, right? That was what I learned through those experiences. And even today, right? Even, having this new facility, and I've been able to do it with close friends and see so many people come back that I've trained before, and you know what I mean? And it still feels like family. It's still an understanding of not everybody want to see us win though, right? So, everyone isn't supporting you. Everyone um doesn't see how you see things. And that's cool. I just feel like again, it's the journey of, what I always thought. I knew I had the business plan for years, and I would never allow anybody to put their shortcomings on me, because there's a lot of people that did that, right? So they came up to me. A lot of people coming to me and tell me, "Man, you should open up something small. You should do like a small studio gym first." And I knew that wouldn't last but a second, because that was never the vision. We were gonna build a studio gym and have 30 people in there, and then grow the next couple months and not have enough space. So that's not the vision. But then, fact that you tell me to do this, but you never did it.
Yeah.
You don't have a storefront. You don't have any proof that you did that. So why do you want me to do that? You want to minimize my vision, my of grandeur, to fit into what you're scared of. So, and I even tell the players like this all the time, and I learned through the process is that I learned never to take advice from someone who doesn't have a testimony.
Yeah.
I'll hear you. That doesn't mean I'm gonna listen to you. And I'm saying that to say, like, with anything you kind of choosing to do, regardless, like I always knew at some point this was gonna happen, because I figured, regardless, I probably deserved the gym 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? I worked hard. I didn't do wrong by anybody. I walked in. I wasn't ready. So I wasn't ready. Maybe it was business. Maybe it was certain things that we need to work on and grow. And it was a manifestation of all of these places that we went through, and I learned from. I learned good from all bad, what was done right, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I would change to create this concept. So I wouldn't change any of that. But for anybody that like has a dream or goal of anything, it's all still gonna go back to you taking care of yourself. Because if you're not even gonna be prepared for the blessing when it do come. It's, I mean, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? You could want to work out for a team, and you have these doubts like, damn, I'm gonna chill. And then the call comes and you ain't in shape. You weren't ready. You weren't ready anyway. So
Yeah. No, I mean, as far as back as I can remember, 2009, 2010 is probably, around when I started training with you. Um, you kind of let us know what your vision was then, and now thinking on it, right? Like what you're doing with Domain is everything that I can remember you were telling us back then, right? And so, kind of just you sticking true to, what your vision was then. Obviously, I'm sure that it evolved over time, and you added some things here and there. But just like to see the dedication that you had to what it was that you wanted to accomplish in life, that no matter what was thrown at you, no matter what gyms told you could or could not do, right, you stayed true to yourself, right, and you went out, and one of the things that I really learned from you, right, is nothing in life is ever given to us, right, everything's earned. And you went out there and did that, right, you earned everything that you're experiencing right now. You have this, what is it, a 30-40,000 square foot gym, and you're doing exactly what you said you were going to do 15, 16 years ago.
yeah, and I probably told too many people. And I say that to say I felt so impelled to tell people, right? Even like you guys, even though at the time you guys couldn't help me do it, right? But I just was but at the same time it's like, again, everybody don't want to see you
Yeah.
really win, right? So it's like you have to kind of hold some of those things to your vest and work hard to get them. And then there was some people that probably like, yeah, man, you've been talking about this gym for years, man. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? Like I've been hearing about this for. I'm like, okay. It's like somebody saying, man, I'm gonna go pro one day, man. I'm gonna go to pro. Yeah, okay, little man, whatever.
Yeah.
And if he believes it, don't knock him down. And if it don't happen in 10 years, don't mean he's still not doing it. So I think for us, it just like you said, man, it's just in both instances, it sets the example. Not only the work that we do, right, to help kids and help people, but the work to get to any goal you want. Like it's proven here. It's proof. It's self-observational learning and development, and true people doing the work, and being and holding that integrity with it. You know what I mean? And sticking to their guns, not compromising. I never compromised anything.
No, I mean it's again just like I can't give you enough kudos just about how you were able to impact me and the others that you were able to train, right? But you were never just a trainer, right? It was never just about the physical, right? And you always spoke about mind, body, spirit, mind, body, soul. And if you had one of those off, right, everything was off. So kind of talk to us more now about you know not just what you're doing with domain, right? It's not just about um it's not just about how the fitness is going to impact somebody and how their aesthetic or physique might look or how they perform, right? But talk a little bit more about how that plays into everyday life, like health and longevity.
The person, I mean, I'm blessed, right? Blessed with I would say this too. Yes, I can train. The philosophical approach works, right? Um, do. I could talk about that. I think, having a sense of discernment, and understanding your gift and your purpose and being able to connect with people is a gift and a skill that I don't take for granted. Meaning, like, I could meet a person in one day and identify other issues outside of training, right? And a lot of times, a lot of those things will hold people back that they don't even know. That has nothing to do with the bench press or how much you squat or how fast you run a 40 or how you jump. You'll be held back by these things if we don't fix them.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm not saying that it's not other people that can do that. I just think that it's not a lot of people probably that have the ability to have this wide range uh um window, meaning I can see a youth league kid and a high school kid and a college kid and a professional and be able to read them, right? Like, just speaking for example, we had a kid come in, I won't say his name, but everyone's talking about how great he is, right? How much of a great athlete he is. And you meet him and it's like, okay, yeah, he is a great athlete, but he got a lot of stuff he need to work on socially, um, his engagement, right? Um, how he even enters the space. A certain level of professionalism, right? Not only the form and technique to certain exercises, but your overall person. You know what I mean? When you leave the building, you know what I mean? What am I teaching you when you leave the building? You know what I mean? You guys kind of set the precedent and standard of taking those principles with you when you weren't with me. That's why we're having this conversation now because you've carried those things with you. That's the standard. Those are the, if you can teach somebody and keep them accountable to do things on their own when they're not with you, then the training is going to take off. That's just going to be a caveat. That's going to be the icing on the cake. But if you can get them to buy in and really be disciplined to the things that you really teaching them and understand, I'm gonna find out anyway. If you come in here, I'm gonna know if you're lying. Your body gonna tell me everything I need to know about you. I don't need to know drug tests. I don't need to do anything. You're gonna tell me if you get enough sleep. Your body gonna tell me if you're not drinking water. You're gonna tell me if you're not eating, if it's not eating the right food. You're gonna tell me if you're not in the right mental frame of mind. If you locked in, if you're tough or not. Your communication skills with other people that are better than you, some that are better than you, some that aren't. Also, your interaction with people that don't play sports because you're in the space. I'm evaluating that. I'm evaluating how you get out your car and come in the building. What type of energy you bringing in the building? If you're an older guy, how are you helping me in here? If you're not helping a young cat get better by leading after. So that's why I always trained you guys with. I never separated you.
Yeah.
Always, regardless of level, you were put together and weren't judged upon that. Your job was to learn, get this free knowledge from what's in the space while also training.
Yeah. No, and I think that it goes a long way, right? Because I got to in high school train with some of the pros, and then as I got to college, I was training with people who were in high school, right? To not just learn from you, right, but then to learn from others in the environment. I mean, we even had just to your point, just regular gym goers, hop in with us, right? And it was just cool to see them. Obviously, I at the time I was thinking, okay, like this is how athletes are supposed to train. But now that I'm out of sports and athletics and in the health and wellness space and focused on longevity, right? The way that you train and the way that you've set up the domain to be, um, right, it's universal, right? The way that we were training then should be how we're training, throughout our life, right? You know strength, that fast twitch muscles, right? Like those critical things that there's more and more science that are coming out to back just here is what's going to help with longevity, right? Like the single most predictable measurement is strength, right? And everything that you did for us, right, is we're building strength. And then you talk about that fast twitch muscle, right? Everything that we were doing with you was to help train that, right? And now that I'm kind of just like, you know, running things back, like you were really on to something. Before we continue, I want to share something deeply personal. The real reason my family started Nava Health. Over a decade ago, my mom was on her deathbed. Her organs were failing, and the doctors told us there was nothing they could do except keep her comfortable. In that moment, everything changed. We realized traditional medicine had limits, especially when it came to proactive and preventative root cause medicine built for long term health span and lifespan. At Nava Health, we take a data driven precision approach to longevity. We test over 90 biomarkers to uncover exactly what's happening inside your body, and we build a personalized plan designed around your unique biology. Because fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, they're not random, they're signals. And when you listen, your body can heal. This is functional longevity medicine done right, comprehensive, proactive, and built to help you feel and perform your best at any age. Go to navacenter.com and take control of your health today. Now back to the show.
Yeah, it's crazy because I can't put I can't put in marketing material. I could talk about performance and the state of the art facility just like everybody else do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to put in the marketing everything that you just said, right? So like, yeah, your per session rate, okay, that's nothing in comparison to what you're gonna get here. And it can't be duplicated because we're the only ones that's doing it and have been doing it. And we know it works, right? Because like you said, it's a balanced and philosophical approach. It wasn't about one thing. It's a mixture of bodybuilding, fitness, functionality, power, flexibility. And if you look at all of the athletes and just people that we train that are consistent and were consistent, and still to this day, if you look at them, they're still living healthy lifestyles.
Yep.
They're still in phenomenal shape. They still can do a multitude of things. It's the balance in your training, it's the balance in your eating. It's just like, water is good for you, but if all you do is drink water, then it's not good for you. You need your proteins, you need your complex carbs, you need your vegetables, you need your fruits, you need your minerals. Where's the balance? Right? And it's the same thing in the gym that we were philosophically teaching then. You know what I mean? And like you said, once you really look at it, it's like I should be doing this anyway.
Yep.
Not because I'm playing in the NFL. I should be doing this because now I have kids that I gotta be able to, and whether you want to believe it or not, they self observationally watching you. They paying attention to you when you not paying attention. They how you get up, your preparation to what you're doing. They seeing you how you keep your car clean. They seeing what clothes you put on, how you smell, how you drive, the music you listening to, all these habits. You don't even know it, but you're instilling in your kids. You're putting them in the atmosphere of it. So now they know they're accustomed to it. You know what I mean? You're not giving them a choice. They're not seeing choices. They're not seeing dad. Oh, I don't feel like doing it today, so I'm not gonna go in. They just see you going, they're like, eh. So guess what? They know I gotta go.
Yep.
And then and then it forced you to go because now you got eyes watching you. You don't have no choice.
No, don't have. I mean, it's funny that you say that because obviously I've taken all my life lessons from football, from training, um, and obviously wanted to carry them over as long as possible because I feel that everything that I've was able to learn from the game and to learn from the process, made me and shaped me who I am today. So I still train the same way, that I was training with you, at least as much to my ability that I can. I might not be doing as heavy of weights, but I'm still doing a lot of the same movements. Making sure that I'm still having that functional, uh, mobility. Um, and now that I have kids, like you were just saying, right? My kids know that I wake up every morning 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I'm downstairs in my garage hitting my routines. And they, over the past couple years, when they wake up, they know that's where I'm at, right? So they come down, right? And now my 4-year-old son, when he comes down at like 6 o'clock, he'll start picking up the 5 pound dumbbells, trying to do the same movements as me.
Exactly.
And what was funny the other day, I think it was New Year's Eve. I didn't wake up at 5 o'clock and go to the gym. I woke up at 6. Well, I didn't wake up at 6 myself. My daughter woke me up at 6, and she was like, "Daddy, like, aren't you supposed to go to the gym?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right." We both got up, both went down there and got a little lifting. But it's
No, dope, man. And that's what it's about. You know what I mean? And again, that's why I also train each level with each level. It helped the pros because you know why? The pros, if they see the young guys looking up to them, you got to do the work.
yeah,
And the young guys are looking up to you, trying to be where you at. So we all helped each other without it being a conversation.
yeah. One thing that you really you help clear things up is you know being more about the journey and loving the process ultimately than the destination, right? And why do you think you took that approach?
I just think I took the approach because I just realized like I knew I was unique in a sense to where I just took a daily approach to regardless of how I felt, I was going to work out, right? Just like you get up and brush your teeth and wash your face. It's part of your daily journey, right? You want your teeth to fall out, you're going to brush your teeth. Regardless if you don't feel like it or not, that's what you're going to do that. I felt like also being in the profession I'm in also helped. I'm not gonna lie. So because of the profession I'm in, you have to figure too. There's nobody in here for me. Coach Flowers doesn't have a Coach Flowers. So the only way for me to continue to be at a high level and lead and teach, and people coming in here and wanting my energy, was to take care of myself. So with that journey, it didn't matter. Whatever's coming is coming. But what's not going to be stopped that I can control is coming in here and working every day. And whatever comes with that, I'm cool with it. It's cool. I'm fine. You know what I mean? It's not. And then it's easy. It's easy to teach and coach too, right? I never yelled at y'all. Yeah, I might have got molded, but I didn't yell at you or curse you out to do work. Like, why would I be cursing you out to do the work and I'm doing the work too?
Yeah,
You tell me you're trying to do something and I tell you, okay, all right, bet. That's what you're trying to do. This what you got to do. And I'm doing it too. You don't have no choice. You can't tell me you trying to get to the league and you missing workouts. I'm here. Why you not here? You know what I mean? I don't have nowhere near the amount of money that you have, but you want this. How could I possibly be outworking you and I can't even get what you're trying to get?
yeah,
So just saying, like said, using that as your thing, and I always talk about like I'll never tell anybody I don't feel like it. You understand what I'm saying? Every time I ever trained you, you never walked in the gym and I was like, man, Zach, bruh, I'm tired, bro. I don't feel like. training y'all today. Tired. You understand what I'm saying? So like your thing was when you had no idea, you never thought that I would never be there,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna be there, and he gonna have everything ready for us to do. And y'all never knew what you were gonna do. I don't write nothing down.
Yeah. No, it to your point, right? I can't recall a day that there was ever a time where I couldn't tell whether you were having a bad day or not, because it was always high energy. We came to do what we had to do, keep the main thing, and it was never in question whether or not Myron was going to be there, ready to go.
Right. Every time. But I knew that, but that started with my discipline and my commitment to myself first. And still to this day, right? I know how blessed I am and fortunate I am to be around youth, right? Because at the same time, that's what keeps you youthful. You got to still do the things you did as a youth. The body is made to move. If you're not moving and you're not trying to do those things and you let people talk about sickness and issues and being on prescription, pain, that start to get on you. So I've been fortunate to be around youthful spirit, youthful energy, right? Which also is motivation for me, even at 51, to be able to do a lot of things I'm able to do. And I can attribute it to my past. I never stopped. So trying now, I didn't think about it as much because I'm around so much youth. That I didn't realize like now I have to market and do more with people my age.
Yeah.
Show them like, hey, you know, I got 4 kids. It's okay. You can get through this. You just got to start. You know what I mean? Like you said, strength training is the catalyst, right? It's the catalyst to life. If you should be walking around strong. I don't care what you play. You just want to be strong just in life, period. So, again, I understand why. I just want everyone else to feel what I feel, not trying to make them me.
No, it does. And I mean, I guess that leads me to like my next question, my next point, right? For obviously, you know, if you're an athlete, you're working on a sport, you know, you're able to do all that, right? But you're also a domain, to your point, doing it for your average Joe and Jane too, who aren't necessarily a high performance athlete, but for those who do want to get started, right? Who might be listening or watching, what does fitness need to become if people actually want to, what is that first step for them and how do they get going? And someone who might be a little bit older.
Yeah. I think the first step is showing up, right? Of course, showing up. And if you don't know, and understand too, the reason why you're showing up and you don't know is because you've been trying to do it on your own. And it's okay to ask for help. I just think you can't short-term goal, can't set these short-term goals of things in reference to fitness. I don't think. I just think you work and you grow and you develop. Like I'm still figuring things out. As long as I've been training, I'm still figuring out things that change in my schedule, my eating. When I eat certain foods at this time, if I work out at this time, if I finish the workout at this time, what I may need to eat to have the energy to train later on in the evening. So I'm figuring that part out. I just think that be honest with yourself to understand that if I'm not balanced, how do I learn these things that will help me get balanced? And put yourself in a facility, right? In a place where you are you feel good coming in even if you ain't training. Like here at Domain, the first thing I always ask people before they even start working out, as soon as they walk in the door, just standing at the in our lobby area, right? How you feel? How you feel just being in here without working out? And a lot of them say, man, this space makes me feel good. I like the way it makes me feel. Then in turn, we can get to the work, but a lot of times you in the wrong space. Bad. Every gym ain't it's a lot of gyms that got dumbbells and equipment and great equipment and, plasma screen TVs and all of this. They got state of the art equipment.
Yeah.
Just walk into that gym and you just see state of the art equipment. That equipment can't help you. It's going to always go back to the people.
Yeah.
Who are the people that are going to be able to help you? And who are the people that you feel good being around doing it? Because there's going to be days you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
That's what the question. But what's going to make you feel good to come in and then when you do? So we always talk about, remember, it was always about the spirit of the individuals that breeded the success. Even if guys that tried to come in that weren't necessarily good people, the work ran them away, right? The dudes who were consistent, we built and learned from each other and helped each other.
Yeah.
So you can't even function in our atmosphere not being right within your spirit, that body, that mind and soul piece that you're talking about. It can't function. It can't function. That's why everything happens organically here. You know what I mean?
Nah, we definitely had some victims show up to some of those trainings one day and never see them again.
Yeah. And you ask, where are they? Where's what's the name? And it's still happening today.
Good. Good.
You know, what's happening today is, you know, people because of social media will see your glory and they'll understand the story. So they see the success of all the players that have come through here that have great success. The Stefon Diggs of the world, guys have made a ton of money, successful in this sport, and rightfully so, right? And they feel like, well, shoot, if I just go in there and get around this atmosphere, I'll get that success. Maybe it'll rub off on me. And that's true, it can, right? But what has to rub off on you is the understanding of the discipline of actually putting the work in. Like those guys worked hard. So it's like you didn't see any of that now with social media. You just see the success. So you never saw the process of it. You know what I mean? They didn't see your journey, right? The journey that you put in. How you had to manufacture yourself as a player in certain instances. You know what I mean? And create yourself to be the player you were from the work ethic. There was a lot of guys that were more athletic than you, faster than you. But what set the standard for you was the fact that, hey, it sound cliche. I'm gonna outwork you, bro.
Yep.
Outwork that talent and that talent and discipline and me knowing and being smart and doing everything I'm supposed to do and be in the right place at the right time is going to overshadow your ability and talent. I got more attributes than you just got talent and ability. I got all of these things that are making me better than you. And then you have a guy that's more talented looking like, how he playing? How did he start? Yeah. He know what he doing. And
No, I mean, look, that's that's something that I always had that chip on my shoulder, right? Is that um, I was gonna show up no matter what. I wasn't the most talented, I wasn't the most gifted, but the one thing that I was gonna show up with is that I wasn't gonna let anybody outwork me, right? I was gonna make sure that I was putting in the work. I was putting in my reps. Really embrace the journey. Trust the process of you know if I keep working this hard, there's no way that I can be denied. And that's kind of just how my mindset, from early, high school through college, and even where I'm at today, right? And one thing that I love talking about, and I think stands true, is that time is either going to expose or promote who's really been putting in the work. And that's just something that like I said, I've always had that chip on my shoulder. Is that look, I was, the Caucasian of the group, right? I was the white boy, and I love that though. Like I kind of fed off that because you know I would walk into a game or to a gym, and they'd have a little bit of doubt, right? Or like not doubt, but they'd be like, "Oh, here we go. Like this is gonna be easy." But once that whistle blew, you know, at the end of the day and that clock hit zero, right? They were going to know who I was, right? And it's just part of that journey, part of that process that I loved is that I was showing up ready to outwork anybody.
We talked about it all the time. In fact, Coach Mike talked about a story. I didn't remember it, but he told me that I said something to you like, "Hey man, you're gonna have to work extra hard because you're right."
Yeah,
He
man.
was like, and I can't believe you said that to Zach. I just had to tell him for real. He gotta compete at a high level time.
Yeah.
It is, but man, I think too, what helps you too, Zach, is not only that, with anything, when you put the work in, you're going to have the confidence. It don't matter what other people think. You know what I mean? You built the confidence by doing the work, right? And then because you did the work, gave me confidence. So now it's not only your confidence, we're speaking confidence into you as well because you're proving it to us by showing up.
Yep.
So now it's like not only have you trained for the fight, right? I'm behind you going into the ring telling you the best. You can't be beat. You won't be beat. And you taking that on like, yeah, you're right. I can't be beat. But I'm not just telling you that just to be telling you that. You saw it yourself. So like that's where it comes from. You know, and you gotta just remember always keep that. No one will be better than you at anything they choose to do when they won't outwork you physically. Even in the space you in now. I'm telling you can't say you better than me, you can't outwork me. That's how I feel like as a trainer. I feel like I got that saying, right? Bring you and your trainer.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up.
Hey, bring him because and not just for one workout, to do everything though.
Yep.
Do the running, do the lifting, do the stretching, do the eating right. I'm talking about day in and day out. Not for 4 weeks, not for a week, couple days. Bring them in here. I want to see. I want to see it done, and I respect those that do it. Ain't nobody pulled up yet.
Yeah, man.
Hey Zach, if they ask me, if somebody said that to me, I'm pulling up.
Yeah. No, but look, you've always been a different breed, right? You've been cut from a different cloth. The lives that you've been able to come across, right? You help them and people like myself, build that type of culture in their everyday life. So I mean, that's part of what makes you different, right? Because others aren't going to do it, right? You are willing to put in the work that others aren't, and kind of just what we're talking about, right? Is that if you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to outwork anybody. It doesn't matter what talent someone else has, right? You will be successful, right? You just got to keep putting the work. You know, your journey, right? You just now were able to open up, this vision that you've always had, right? You didn't give up on the process. You kept putting the work, kept showing up, stacking days, and now you've accomplished everything that you said that you were going to, right? I mean, that's a true testament, right, to showing up and putting in that work. So, um, like I said, you've been so foundational to not just mine, but just the countless athletes and just not even just athletes, the people that you've come across to really shape who they are and who they become. Not just as an athlete, but as a father, as a friend, as a coworker. So but before I round this out, I got a couple questions I want to ask you, and then I'll close out the episode. What would you say is the best advice you've ever heard or received?
The best advice I would say, um, it's simple, and my grandfather used to say it to me. He say, "Boy, you got to do when you don't feel like doing, cause the word do is in doing."
Yeah, there you go. No, I love that. I mean, it's simple, but yeah, you got to do it, right? No one else is coming to do it for you. You know, whether it's someone going to the gym, right, and they want to get in shape, right? No one's going to pick up that dumbbell for you, so you got to pick it up, right? You got to
It's
do it.
that it's the only thing left where no matter how much money you make, how successful you are in business, how many followers you have on social media, you cannot, you can pay money to people who can do something you can't do. You can pay them to paint your house. You can pay them to fix your car. You could pay somebody now to have a child for you, right?
Yep.
You're not gonna pay them to do and do the work, and your ass get in shape. There ain't no app for that yet.
No app for that. Same thing. Same thing with health, right? You know, no one's going to come and make you healthy. No one's going to tell you, or you know, eat healthy food for you, and then all of a sudden you get healthy, right?
You got to put
So,
yourself.
you know, you got to do it yourself. Next question is, what is the biggest problem right now that you are trying to solve?
I think the I would say that you talking about in the industry right now, kind of like what the field I'm in.
Yeah,
I think right now the space I'm in is and I'll speak from two sides with that question, right? Because I'm dealing with both. From an athletic side, I think there's too much there's too much outside noise in reference to training, right? With not understanding keeping the main thing the main thing. These kids have a lot of distraction, more distraction with social media and what's hip and what's and at the end of the day it goes back to the foundation of the work. So I'm seeing a difference in kids, even though they have access to all of this new stuff. Like you guys didn't have what we have now, right? You train in regular gyms. Your work ethic, if you had this, would be here. I just feel like I don't see the hunger in a lot of these kids. I would like to see more humility and hunger and when somebody tell me they don't have a ride somewhere, like, what? You didn't have a ride. Like that ain't no man. I train guys who skateboarded to Greenbelt if they had to and caught a bus and hey, asked, are you going my way? Can I get a ride? Right? That's one by any means. To me, you don't want it. So that's one thing I would like to see on that side. Just the hunger and the appreciation and understanding, like, stop equating activity with productivity. A lot of people are doing a lot of nothing.
yeah. No, I mean, look, you can jog in place and still be in the same place, right? So
Exactly. And just from the fitness side, I think getting people to understand like the balanced approach to fitness, right? Just you know, s- a lot of the women where they think if they touch a weight, they're gonna look like me and you. Or the person who does yoga or Pilates, right? I do yoga, I do Pilates, or I power lift. Great. Those are all good pieces. Those are tools in your tool belt. But you need more tools to build what it is you're building, your body. You got one tool that's good, but you need more. And just kind of educating people and making them more comfortable with adding more tools to their tool belt,
yep.
but still allowing them to do the things that they enjoy doing, but just kind of giving them little pieces at a time. And what I've learned through the industry too is that I can't make you me. Meaning, if I like steak and I love the way steak tastes, and I want you to try this steak, but I can't give you the steak because you ain't got teeth. So what I have to do is I have to give you baby food first until I start to see your teeth grow. And then I give you more soluble foods until I see your teeth grow. And then as your teeth grows in, now I can give you the steak. Well, a lot of trainers and a lot of people in the industry, they want to rush people to their level of thinking and their discipline. And you have to learn how to meet people where they individually are and help them understand everybody's journey is different. It's just like in sport. All of you guys train hard, but your journeys were different with that. And I would just like to see more of that change and that ideology in the space that I'm in.
Yeah. No, it's again, it's a lot of the things that you just said is the same thing that we're, having to have that problem and re-educate and retrain, just like how people are thinking about their health and wellness, right? And obviously, we could throw everything in the kitchen sink at them, but for most people, that's too complicated. They get overwhelmed and they fall off, right? It's about giving them that bite-sized piece of the apple. Um, to give them that bit of confidence, to see that bit of change, to want to move on to the next thing, and then slowly, start turning these new teachings just into daily habits, right? These non-negotiables that they're going to do every single day because they ultimately know that this is what's best for them and their health in the long term. So I think that's critical.
Those small steps, making them feel better so they see improvement is better than coming in and trying to crush them.
Yeah, yeah,
And they like you said, they leave discouraged, not wanting to come back.
yeah. You know, maybe maybe that's where we went wrong with some of those victims.
Nah, in those cases, you got to do that. I ain't changing.
Yeah, nah, you can't change that.
It's been a lot of throw up in our bathroom in the
Oh,
trash.
man. Yeah, and there were a lot of people who came in talking a lot about, "Oh, this was gonna be nothing for him." Next thing you know, next day, where Joe at?"
Right, right, right. But it teaches for the athletes a little different, right?
Yeah,
You guys are built a little different in a sense. And I do have to kind of throw you in the fire a little bit because I feel like it's learning that happens through shared pain.
yeah,
You're not eating right, you're gonna be exposed. If you're not eating, you're gonna be exposed. And you gotta learn. Because if you're able to go through the process, a lot of them are able to still train and have somewhat of success that they think is success, doing what they're doing, and they feel like I can still do this. Well, then you don't know any better. So I gotta throw you in the fire. Because if I don't, nothing changes. You think you can continue to do this. So I have to, it's always been that, you know what I'm saying? I just had 30 kids here today. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole new generation of classes of athletes now. You know what I mean? That, these guys don't even know who Vernon Davis is.
it's a shame.
Like they don't know who Muhammad Wilkerson is or Tahir Whitehead or Moses Foku. They don't know those guys, right? Crazy, but they don't. But at the same time, the principles on how I coach and fundamentally that's not changing. So like I'm now curious to see how many stick around, just like any other time. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, and last question before I close it out. When it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be remembered by?
That's a good question. I never really thought about that. Uh, man, I just think the legacy on like what you said earlier. Um, just the impact you had on people's lives and the things that they take with them with their life jersey on now. You know what I mean? And representing everything that we stood for, I stood for, and moving and doing that. So it's like it's good to hear it because you don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I did of course been around thousands of people, trained thousands of athletes and hundreds of thousands of people, right? So I mean, of course you know because you get people coming back and okay, you've been impactful in that way, and they'll tell you that, but you don't know the true manifestation of it, and you probably won't never know till you're gone. But at the end of the day, I just think I just love like hearing stories like yourself, seeing you do what you do makes me proud. Like that lets me know like what we were doing work.
Yeah,
It still works. We don't have to change nothing. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to fundamentally change anything. You know what I mean? Like we can still continuously be who we are. I can be who I am. I don't have to switch it up. And I think that's the legacy I want to live. Just do the work. You know what I mean? Continues to do the work. Everything else will shake out.
Yeah. No, I love that. And it's to your point, what you guys are doing is special, and you shouldn't change anything up. Obviously, there's always things that evolve, but at least at the foundation of things, I can't thank you enough for just what you've been able to help me with, accomplish, in my playing career, outside in the real world, and how I show up with every single day, just the impact, the reliability, that I'm able to provide, for my family, for work, for my future. The body you build today is the life you get to live tomorrow, and that's one of the things that you really help show me, and that you show others. So Myron, I just want to say thank you, for helping shaping who I've become, and to everyone listening, just to remember that longevity is built in the daily behaviors, of what you show up with every single day. So again, I can't thank you enough. If today's conversation sparked something in you, here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one strategy, one insight, one small action you heard today, and commit to it this week. Excellence isn't built in moments. It's built in the daily decisions that compound over time. Remember, you're not just building a healthier body or a more successful career. You're building a legacy that will outlast you. And that starts with the standards you set today. Thanks for listening to the Legacy and Longevity Podcast. If this episode was valuable, first subscribe so you never miss an episode. Then leave us a review to help more people find these conversations. And finally, share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. Until next Tuesday, keep raising the bar, keep pushing your limits, and keep stacking days. I'm Zach Dancel. Your legacy starts now.